Hey guys, it's Sell It. I haven't been uploading in a while, and I understand that. I'm sorry. I've been sick. I've had a lot of things going on in my personal life. I was trying to get ready for a regional that I actually scrubbed out of pretty much after round 4, but more on that in a different video. As of right now, I want to get my thoughts on this format, and particularly with the ban list. I actually think this is one of the more fun Yu-Gi-Oh formats that we've been in quite some time. I expected Justice Hunters to basically destroy this game, particularly with Paradise Smasher, but we'll get to him in a little bit because this is part of the ban list video. But overall, there's a lot of things that I think can really be reframed from my last video, in my last ban list prediction video rather, because I have a lot of different opinions from the last time that I made this video. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my thoughts out into the wild here. In terms of Mitsurugi, Habakiri can remain unchanged, Murakumo can remain unchanged. I don't have Mitsurugi Prayers here, and I'm sorry that I don't, because that is the card that I would put here in Limited. We'll put this in now. Prayers. We'll just put that right there. Mitsurugi Prayers is ridiculous because I recently came across a Yummy Mitsurugi player while I was at the Gas South Regional, and there were times where I got hit with like double Fualos or like 4 hand traps, and he would always open Prayers, and I just didn't see Ash Blossom, which is like, okay, sure, whatever. I guess this is what's going to happen now, and Prayers is just full combo. Same thing with Ritual. Ritual can just remain unchanged, like with these other two, with Habakiri and Murakumo, because honestly, Ritual's fine. It's Prayers that I really have an issue with. It feels like there's never really an answer to Prayers outside of Ash occasionally, but even then, I also would take a look at if I can find the card. King of the Fairlamps, banned. I'm tired of Mitsurugi Raizeel being a thing, and the only reason it is a thing is because they can go into each other so frequently. And that's really the biggest issue that I have with Mitsurugi, is the fact that it is splashable into a bunch of other things. Like I said, with Yummy Mitsurugi, Yummy actually can be abused by Mitsurugi by making Zombie Vampire and then hitting a name out of the 4 cards that gets milled, which is exactly what happened to me. My opponent made Zombie Vampire, and because you can't hit it with a Veiler or Imperm, if they mill a Yummy name, that's full Yummy combo. And there's very few things that stop it at that point. Moving on, Raizeel. Honestly, I'm gonna get all the Raizeel cards here, because I think Raizeel is at a point where it's a little hard. I think the correct hit is to limit the Duo Drive X Raizeel, but put both Sword and Ice to 3. Because really the only problematic card in Raizeel at that point would be X Raizeel, because it's an inherent board breaker. But even Eclipse Twins is fine. Like, I wouldn't hit the card, and I wouldn't ban Detonator. The deck doesn't feel as potent as it once did, and especially if you take away the Mitsurugi cards, it's not going to have the same oomph that it did. So yeah, they still have all the same rank 4 toolboxes, but is it really going to be a problem? And the same thing with Exciton Knight. Exciton Knight's a little bit weird for me, however. I would still just ban him, because technically this allows them to make, what's it called, Fiendsmith combo. And we're trying to avoid all the splash ability that Raizeel can have with different engines in the game as well on this ban list. So if they hit that, King of the Fairlamps, and what else? Moon of the Closed Heaven, automatically they solve so many different problems with these decks. And you can actually allow some things to come off the list. Protos. Protos is weird, because I want it banned, but at the same time, I'm just not seeing it anywhere that's near me, so I guess the card no longer needs to be hit. Neither does the other Nemesis monster that was being used for a while. I'm still a little iffy on it, but we'll see what happens. Fiendsmith stuff, I mean, if you hit Moon of the Closed Heaven, literally everything else is fine. Engraver's fine, Tract is fine, Caesar's fine. Literally everything is fine except for Moon of the Closed Heaven, because this was another reason that I had trouble at my regional, was because I would use my Ash on something else that my opponent was doing, and then their backup plan was to just make 2 effect monsters and then go full Fiendsmith combo right after. And it's like, well, at that point, I guess I should have saved my Ash for the Requiem. And it feels really bad to get punished for feeling like you had the hand trap in one place, and then they just still go full combo in another sense. It's just, that's what I don't like about Yu-Gi-Oh! When we talk about all of these different splashable engines just being played together, it feels as if there's always a backup plan, and I'm tired of that. Hand traps need to be good, at least in this format. Artifact Durandal, I think it is ban-worthy, because now we're starting to see people use Droll and Lockbird and Durandal to be able to basically shuffle an opponent's entire hand into the deck, and then they can't draw afterwards because they're under Droll and Lockbird. But you do have to chain the Droll in response to a card being drawn off of Molcharmy. So it's a little weird. It does require some setup, but I still think it's possible for them to do so. And I'm tired of, cheesy stuff like this existing. Same with Harpy's Featherstorm. I still think the water barrier statue needs to be banned in some capacity. Paradise Smasher. Paradise Smasher is insane. I've used this a lot in my testing. This card won me games, and even when someone hit me with a Ghost Ogre, I still won with this card. And it's just not fun. There have been times where I've managed to win under Paradise Smasher, I got hit with it by my opponent, but at the same time, those instances are very rare, and you shouldn't rely on that. That's the big thing. Other than that, the ban section might be fine otherwise. I mean, obviously I still think Ouroboros is a problem, but Automata Raizio kind of fell off the face of the planet. But if we're gonna give Sword and Ice back, I do think you need to hit this, because Raizio will then just move away from Mitsurugi more into the Automata version, or the Heraldic Beast version. So you may as well just preemptively hit this card, so that it's not a problem down the road. As for the Charmies, I hate to say this, I think the Charmies are gonna be around for a little bit longer, because we just got the reprints announced for Fulos and Perulia in the tins. So these cards are not going away anytime soon, and I don't expect them to go away anytime soon. Heavy Storm, it's a thrust target, but it's fine. Branded Fusion, they did get new support announced, but I don't know if they're going to put this to 2 or 3. Personally, I think the difference between 2 and 3 is nominal, unless we're talking about 60 card variants, but it could just go to 3. Branded is not really a top contending deck unless we count the Draco Tail version, and Konami might just wait a little bit longer before they start touching the big Branded Fusion itself, because technically this is a consistency card for Branded Draco Tail. So it might be a while, but I think they could go to 3. Same with Ash and Poplar, and I have a hot take. Original Sinful Spoils could probably go to 1, and it would be fine on top of these 2 cards coming back, because Snake Eyes, is it really a thing even if Ash and Poplar go to 3? I feel like Original Sinful Spoil just has to be at 1 in order for this deck to even be somewhat viable, but putting these to 3 for now would be fine. Other than that, nothing else needs to be touched for Snake Eyes. Unchanged for Malice, I would not hit the Chessy Cat. I would limit the Dormouse, but put White Rabbit to 3, and I would limit Malice and Underground and ban Splash Mage still. So the big thing with Malice is its ability to swarm the board. But, I mean, if you're hitting the Malice Underground to 1... No, they have the backup Attic Dister. Okay, so they need consistency hits somewhat. But they need some tools to come back. And I think Splash Mage is a problem. It's a problem for any deck that does, like, major link climbs. So basically every Cyberse deck. And Malice is just the one that can abuse it the most. You could make the argument that you could ban Splash Mage and then unlimit the Dormouse, but Dormouse is technically the best card in the deck, even though Malice and Underground, in my opinion, is better. I could see Dormouse getting unlimited if they banned the MTP-07, the trap card that banishes something on field when it activates. But I don't think they're going to do that, so I think these are the correct hits for Malice, even though it's not technically a top contending deck right now. Wyvern Burster, Collapse Serpent, these two cards aren't really doing anything right now. If they want to push the Rocket stuff that's about to come out in Burst Protocol, I think this is fine to push. Pre-prep of Rights, this could be a way to limit the potential of Mitsurugi, but really it's just a slap to any ritual-based deck. Halka Firebrax, you can stay gone. Summon Sork, I think it's about time to just go ahead and limit her. Scarecrow, same thing, like, what is Super Heavy Samurai doing? Baronne de Fleur is banned. Savage Dragon is banned. Super Heavy Samurai just does nothing if this comes back. Sprite Elf, it's fine. You know, Tier could use it. A bunch of different decks can use it. If they want to push Tri-Brigade, this is one of the cards to actually unban and just put to 1, because Tri-Brigade can technically use this. Same with Meow Meow. Meow Meow is fine to come back to 1 just to, like, test the waters. It was limited for a while, if I remember correctly, before just being banned. But this card, I don't know. A lot of people are still scared of Prank Kids. They would do nothing other than win in time. Which, if you're scared of that, I don't know what to tell you. Sharvara to Unlimited. They've already put it to 2. Morphing Jar, I don't know if it's limited or semi-limited, but you can just put Morphing Jar to 2. If it's already at 2, just put Morphing Jar to 3. I really don't think anybody gives a damn about this card. Although, Anycraft comes around the corner. And if they play around with this card, people might have a tough time. Minstrel, unchanged. I mean, Mermail fell off the face of the planet whenever Justice Hunters came out, so this is pretty much just a non-starter. Called by the Grave, unchanged. Gamma, unchanged. Hot Take, Triple Tactics Talent, banned. Just banned. This card's broken. I say that because in my testing, Triple Tactics Talent has won games. Just straight up won games. Banning this card is fine. Thrust can remain unchanged. If we get rid of talents, we stop people searching talents and then immediately using it. That being said, this card is technically every other normal spell trap in the game, which could lead to problems in deck building. But as of right now, I don't see it as a problem. Mistaken Arrest, it is pretty much fell off the face of the planet in terms of competitive play, because nobody uses this card anymore. It feels like ever since we moved out of the last format before Justice Hunters, this card really has been irrelevant. And I don't see many people talking about that. I think Shared Ride was still played in the, the Vanquish Soul list. This card just nowhere to be seen now. So is it really a problem? I don't think so anymore. Pot of Extrav. This is technically a consistency hit for K9 BS, although I do like what Master Duel did for all of the pot cards where they just limited them, except for Prosperity, which I think is banned. I do like the idea of all the pot cards going to 1, just as a consistency hit for everything. Gallon Granite, unchanged. Who cares if you can search Nab? Guska, I think Guska is weird because I don't like it. I do think it's a ban-worthy card. However, there are a lot of decks that can still utilize this, so it's not like just Ryzeo can abuse it. I think it might be fun. Pearly spells, it's time to bring them home. Just put them to unlimited. Pearly's doing nothing right now. It'll probably do nothing if you put these to 3. Outside of a regional setting, maybe. But anyways, that is my ban list prediction video. As you can see, I've had a lot of different changes and opinions. Unfortunately, nothing went to the semi-limited this time around because, quite frankly, I don't really see a need to address the semi-limited list in this particular list. It's like things need to either be limited, banned, or just go to 3, in my humble opinion. But other than that, I got some other things cooking in the background. I got a video talking about my regional experience that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to try to work on a hand trap tier list, this format, just before the ban list comes out. Hopefully I can get it done either tonight or tomorrow. And with that, that is everything. Cheers.